Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Education Reorganization meeting. This meeting is kind of lengthy because we have to appoint all the personnel that need to be appointed annually, and also to appoint all of the different positions that that we have in the district that, again, need to be done annually. So for emergency exits, it's only us. We have a couple of visitors today, but you go out the doors and go either way and get as far away from the building as possible. Okay, for the pledge tonight, Mrs., would you like to do Pecha?
Pecha. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Okay, thank you very much and welcome. This is her first board meeting. Mrs. Jarzak retired, so we want to welcome you and hope you have a good tenure with us for the next 3 years.
Thank you.
Okay, for 2A, B, and C, do we have to do those individually to appoint? Our district clerk's not here today, so she's usually my crutch here is to.
I think we do.
Okay, all right. So for 2A, we're appointing Nicole Latska for the as our district clerk, and I don't think we have to make a motion for that. Do we?
Yeah, I'll make a
Okay.
motion.
Okay.
I'll
Mrs.
second.
Bussey, Mr. Siebert, any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried 7-0. Okay, then we have the swearing in of 3 new board members. And who is doing the swearing in? Is it Melissa? Melissa Schustrom? Could you do the swearing in, please? Do you stand?
Maybe one at a time.
If you screw it up.
Okay, raise your right hand. I, Diane Barris,
I, Diane Barris,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of board member
the duties of board member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Glad to be on board.
I, Janice Delbo,
I, Janice Delbo,
do solemnly swear
do affirm
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of board member
the duties of board member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
I, Jody Pecha,
I, Jody Pecha,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of board member
the duties of board member
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
Mrs. Pesha, would you like a picture of your family up with you and Mrs. Schustrom to show your swearing in?
Yes, please.
Okay. And Jen, would you mind taking a picture of them? Okay. If you come up here.
I don't think you need a mask.
Yeah, you'll be next to your mom, so I think she's safe.
I think I'm all right.
The reenactment.
Yes.
It's like the third time she's done it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming, guys. That's awesome.
Thanks for inviting them.
And you can stay as long as you want for the meeting, or you can have a good night.
You can watch us online.
Thanks for leaving her, though. And we need to swear in our superintendent, Mr. Bystrek.
I, Nancy Baxter,
I, Matthew Bystrek,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of superintendent
the duties of superintendent
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Oh, shucks.
Okay, now we are going to elect the school board president for this coming year. And so can I have any nominations from the floor? Mr. Bedient?
May I nominate you, Diane Barris, for president, please?
I would gladly accept that. Do we have anybody else that has any nominations? Okay, any discussion? All in,
Congratulations.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Oh, roll call. Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Mrs. Pescia?
Yes.
Mr. Bedient?
Yes.
Mr. Kwiatkowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Bussey?
Yes.
And Mrs. Delbo?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So that's 7-0 approved. I think I vote yes. Thank you. Oh,
Again. Back to
A lot of swearing going on around here.
You're going to get tennis elbow.
Yeah.
Okay, I, Diane Barrett,
I, Diane Barris,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and I will faithfully discharge
the duties of board president
the duties of board president
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you. Okay, now we'll elect the vice president. Is there anyone that would like to nominate someone for vice president?
I would
Mr.
like,
Kwit-
oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Mr.
No, you
Kwiatkowski?
go.
Oh,
I'd like to nominate Larry Siebert.
okay. Do you accept, sir?
I do, ma'am.
Okay. Any other nominations? Okay, any discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Oh, we need a roll call. Mr. Siebert, how do you vote?
Yes.
Ms. Pescia?
Yes.
Mr. Bedient?
Yep.
Mr. Kwiatkowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Bussey?
Yes.
Mrs. Delbo?
Sorry. Yes.
And I vote yes, looking forward to another year of working together with you. Okay.
Well deserved.
I, Lawrence Siebert,
I, Lawrence Siebert,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of vice president of the board vice president. Sorry,
Now you threw me off.
sorry. Faithfully discharge the duties of board vice president
I will faithfully do the duties of the vice president
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability. Thank you.
You know, I would say just to be consistent, because it takes an extra minute or so, but it's the safest way.
I was in a rhythm,
And then they can
waiting for the words on, somebody changed them.
Okay, Mr. Schultz is in here. He's our current treasurer, but we'd like to appoint him. Can I have a motion to appoint Mr. Schultz as treasurer?
I'll move.
Okay, Mrs. Delbo, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay.
You want to arm wrestle for it, or?
No, that's okay. I'll wait.
Mr. Kwiatkowski, second. Any discussion?
Laddie's doing it for another year.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Did you want to do
Roll
the
call?
Oh, roll call. Mr. Siebert, how do you vote?
Yes.
Mrs. Pescia?
Yes.
Mr. Bedient?
Affirmative.
Mr. Kwiatkowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Bussey?
Yes.
Mrs. Delbo? And I vote yes, so it's carried 7-0. Okay, and Mr. Schultz, because of all the COVID and all of that, Mr. Schultz and Mrs. Meglich is not here. But anyways, we need to appoint Janice Meglich as our claims auditor. She comes in a couple times a year and does the audit of all the warrants and all of that. So can I have a motion to appoint her?
I'll move on that.
Mrs. Bussey, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Delbo, any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Mr. Siebert,
Yes.
Mrs. Pescia,
Yes.
Mr. Bedient,
Yes.
Mr. Kwiatkowski,
Yes.
Mrs. Bussey,
Yes.
Mrs. Delbo,
Yes.
and I vote yes, and so that's carried 7-0.
Before we move on, was it typically the last meeting of the year that she would come in and present to us? Is that,
I believe so.
are we gonna do like some sort of a Zoom meeting at all, or?
Not sure. To be honest with you, I'll find out the date that she would typically come in.
Okay.
So.
Cool, just all the thoughts on my head, thank you.
Okay.
In my head.
All right, we are going to abolish a couple of positions that, for elementary teachers, appoint for physical education, and appoint for a music teacher. And Mr. Bystrat, would you like to discuss that?
I just would like to add one thing too. So these are not positions that are currently filled by someone. So it's not as though someone's losing a job or anything. These are positions that people retired. So at this point in time, the district, we are opting to hold off on filling those positions, just anticipation, just making sure that our revenue source or revenue stream is going to be adequate to be able to meet our needs moving forward. So,
Thanks for that clarification.
sure.
Okay, so can I have a motion to abolish those positions? Nobody?
I'll make the motion.
Mr. Kwiatkowski, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Mrs. Bussey?
Unfortunately, we're losing.
Yes, yes, very unfortunate. But as Mr. Bystrat said, we can always bring them back if they're deemed necessary, so, so
The
we'll see.
discussion part, we got the second?
Yes, so I
Okay,
was just going to say,
whether
any
it's a second or
discussion?
not. I do appreciate your explanation of that, and I understand it now much better, so thank you.
Yeah, I mean, really, these can be added back at any point
Yeah,
in
no,
time.
I was looking at it as abolishing the way you said it, so I appreciate that, thank you.
Okay, any other-
These are not individuals losing their
No,
position. These
no.
are
No.
just,
Someone retired and we said, you know what,
That's
let's
right.
hold off on filling this. And to be
Yes.
quite honest with you, this isn't something I'm happy about either. We've been working toward reducing class sizes, particularly at the primary levels. We'll still be well within board guidelines and projections, but at the same time, we were trying to hit the lower end of those. And it would be my intention and my goal to try to be able to add back those positions as soon as possible. So that's where I'm at with this too. So.
That's why I'm okay with this, it's almost like we're just not immediately filling it. It could
Correct.
still happen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a pause.
Correct.
Okay.
Until we see what
Then
the,
if I can ask a question
state
too,
aid and
then
everything.
what is the reason for abolishing then if we have the opportunity? Obviously, as a Board of Education, we can add these on, but why would we abolish them and not just leave them?
It honestly just cleans things up from a paperwork standpoint, just not to have all these extra positions. And at times, you look at when a position, if it's just hanging out there, believe it or not, with the number of positions we have in the district, we keep very detailed records as to who filled what position at what time, and it adds, I hate to say it, but like almost like a clutter basically. So we try to keep those as succinct as possible, if that makes any sense, so in our record keeping. So like I
So
said,
each one of these positions that would be in a building, fair to say that if the need was there, we are going to replace that position?
just to give an example, our typical way of operating most years come August, if we see a spike, like for instance, because the toughest grade level to predict is kindergarten. Just coming in, it's really tough to know. Like you make projections, they're basically based on the prior year. But what you'll do is we monitor class sizes. Once we start getting into late July, on a weekly basis, we look at class sizes in particular at the elementary level. And if you see a spike and we go above board guidelines, our practice in the past has been to add a teacher. So that's why we need 2 meetings in August, because frankly, a lot of times it's like August 28th and suddenly you realize I need another teacher. Again, this is all kind of bracing. We've already seen approximately a 25% reduction in our sales tax, the most recent revenue that we received there. And, the governor, and this is not a criticism, honestly, but, the governor is in a tough spot right now, too, in the state legislature, and there was talk of up to a 20% cut in foundation aid. That'd be about a $9 million hit if they did that. I don't believe it's going to be that bad if it comes, but there's certainly serious talk of a cut to that foundation aid coming, and unfortunately, the way that they passed the budget this year, they get a few bites at the apple. They get a few opportunities where they can reduce foundation aid throughout the course of the year, as long as the legislature approves. So this is all bracing at this point.
So actually, we could be here again next month adding this position if it's needed.
It's very conceivable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you assure me that this doesn't affect fourth graders in any way with their lessons and so forth? So it's not going to cut down the opportunities?
We're not eliminating program.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
definitely
they'll,
not.
all children will still have the same music opportunities?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Yep.
thanks.
We're still keeping all the other positions, right? Like our
that's-
permanent
that's not
subs
cut.
and all those?
Yeah.
So these are just
Yeah,
extra ones.
we're trying to
for-
maintain programming, and I wouldn't even refer to them. I mean, I understand like the idea of extra, but we really were working at a targeted effort to try to knock down, if the kindergarten class size recommendations is between 20 and 24, I wanted 20. All right, I say but we were aiming toward 20 as opposed to the higher end of that. So we were really working. So we may be knocked off course. Peter, great term, pause. May have been knocked off course temporarily. Our intention is to get back to that, just because of the fundamental nature of those primary grade levels in terms of building your basic building blocks, whether it be reading and math, socialization, things like that. One or two extra kids in a classroom does make a difference at the kindergarten or first grade level, I would say.
Definitely. And we don't even know what the guidelines are going to be, because...
That's a whole different, you're
so
right.
if they cut class sizes down even more, we're going to have to hire more teachers as well as
Yeah.
find more space.
Yep.
Okay.
So-
Otherwise, I would vote no on it.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
We're awaiting the governor's regulations for
Correct.
his executive order for the social distancing and all of that. And that's hopefully comes the middle of the month, middle of July. So
That's when it's anticipated
We'll see
to
what
come out,
happens. And
yes.
that will affect all of the number of teachers we have and everything else.
Actually, with Larry,
So-
why did we even abolish them? We should have just hung on until...
Well, then what Matt was saying is it's clearing up the books.
I
and
understand.
Yes,
getting it
right.
through, but we just
We
can't
could've
lose
waited a couple
focus. We
weeks.
just can't lose focus of where
Yeah.
we need to be.
Correct.
And I think, though, the numbers will dictate where we're going to be when they look at them, which then means we've got to add.
This would contribute to more accurate record keeping, whereas adding the position is as simple as adding a position. Again, the board has a great deal of flexibility in being able to do that. It's really not it wouldn't slow down the process. I can tell you, if we felt the need to add at a given moment, it wouldn't slow anything down. We'd be able to start a process in doing it, and then you can almost add and, you can create the position and appoint on the same night if you really wanted to. So.
May I ask for clarification on what the exact grade levels are being abolished?
They're elementary teachers, so I can't really tell you the grade level. I mean, if I could go back and look at the records to see what the teacher retired from. So these were 4 retirements, essentially, as elementary teaching positions. But the deck sort of shuffles then based on our need at
Correct.
certain grade levels around the district. So it's not so, it's probably better to look at it just as an elementary teacher who, an elementary teaching position that we've eliminated, essentially. So it could be in any of them.
And we are defining elementary through 6th grade, correct?
For the purposes of how we conceptualize this on the west side of town, we really look at it from the standpoint of being up through 5th grade. On the east side of town, it goes through 4th grade for contractual purposes. The certification goes up until 6th grade, so you are correct.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we need a roll call vote for this. Mr. Siebert?
Yes.
Why do we need a roll call?
No, we don't.
Yeah, if you abolish, yes.
Yeah.
We never
Yes.
did that before.
I was told you need a roll call vote. Ms. Pesha?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay. Mr. Bedient?
I'm in favor.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'm in favor, okay, whatever. Mr. Kwiatkowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Bussey?
Yes, unfortunately.
Mrs. Dalbo?
Yes.
And I vote yes, so that is, it's carried, 6-0-1, one abstention.
Ms. Spears, can I just add one additional item, too?
Yeah.
One of the dangers that you have, there's a lot of, I don't say dangers, but one of the things you always try to avoid, too, is in the event that you add positions, that in the event of, just an extreme financial strain, that there's always the potential for layoffs. So you really want to minimize. You don't ever want to do layoffs. That's the worst thing in the world. You never want to have to tell somebody they don't have a job anymore. So that's one of the things too, that not filling these positions also helps us to avoid, in this time frame. So it's the worst thing ever. There's no other way to put it. So I just wanted to be able to add that. So.
And in education, we never want to abolish
No.
a teacher, but sometimes you just, you just need to because of numbers or of conditions. Okay.
Actually, this is more humane because we're not taking jobs away from individuals.
Correct.
Hopefully, this isn't going to have to be repeated during this year, and I'm well aware of the things that are happening in Albany, and they're iffy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Correct.
Well, they also have the long-term, the subs in the buildings, so that will help. If it's an emergency, at least you can fill a classroom right away until we hire someone.
Correct.
Or hire that person.
Right.
That's the only reason I'm approving it.
Okay, so we have a number of appointments, and I think we can do these in bulk. Can we do 4B and all of 6? So it's appointing speech teachers, custodians, we have some retirees, and appointing cleaners, the curriculum cabinet appointment, UPK appointments, digital learning credit recovery appointment, district coordinators, chair people, district leaders, some internships, sub-pay scale, preferred sub-appointments, home instruction appointments, and community ed appointments for our before and school after program. So can I have a motion to approve all of those positions? It's just approving the positions, not necessarily the people involved.
I'll move.
Mrs. Bussey, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Siebert, any discussion?
All right, just before that, though, did we hired a speech teacher, correct?
Correct. Yes.
I think we should talk about that. Isn't that
Yeah.
nice?
I was gonna mention that.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for my moment.
Did we pass on that one? I don't think we did.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, we don't have to do that separately, right?
No, it doesn't have to
Or-
be separately,
yeah,
no.
it doesn't have to be
Yeah.
separate.
Oh, that was on 4.
Yeah, it's
But you didn't
approving
do
her.
all.
Yeah.
But I
Yes.
think it should be noted, we did add a teacher.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. That was actually based on some mandates that we had for speech and language pathology, but
Good.
we're very excited to have her.
Got to keep these kids well educated.
We always like to add positions. Okay, so any discussion on that?
I'm having trouble with my board docs, and I would just like to clarify one thing, so if I can have just 1 second.
Yes,
Because it
yes.
will not let me in.
That's why I think you also have a paper copy if.
I do, but I
Yes.
don't know if it's been corrected. What's on the paper copy is my question.
Oh,
And
okay,
it came
okay.
through my questions to Mr. Bystrick and the board earlier.
Okay. Take your time.
While we're waiting, can I just say there was some retirements in there, and as of last week as well, or the last board meeting last week, there's some phenomenal people that are leaving our district right now that have provided a number of years of services in a variety of capacities. So I'd just like to congratulate them on their retirement and also thank them for their years of service to the district. So.
Can you give a year specifically, or?
No, I don't mean mine specifically. If I can peek over your shoulder. I just
Yeah.
can't get into the executive content.
Which one are you looking at?
Mine's not on. I got it.
That's it.
Yeah, solitary.
Mr. Bystrick, while we're waiting, what'll happen with Anne Marie Ralph?
too short.
She's not retiring until September?
Yes.
So you bring someone in?
Yeah, we're going to have that conversation. Yeah, she's giving us ample
gonna
notice,
have to
which
be
is good.
replaced.
Yeah, our food services director. Yeah, again, one of the people that I was referring to providing just outstanding service to the district, especially in recent months with the COVID crisis and all the food service demands that have been placed on her. She pulled that together extremely quickly. And it was, flawless. We got nothing but kudos on that program. So Anne Marie really did a nice job with her team.
Yeah.
You saw mine, so.
And do we know for the summer, do we have to, or are
We
we
do.
required to provide meals for the?
Yep, we found out about a week ago, and Anne Marie's already got it in place. There'll be some communication going out over the next couple of days that our food services is going to resume over at Winchester and Northwood starting next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday, okay. All
Okay.
right, so,
What about the daycare?
Daycare will be resuming as well. We're still kind of working through some things with the daycare, but it appears as though we're going to be using some contracted agencies to assist with that. We're unfortunately running the daycare within the buildings right now.
Right.
There's a lot of things that we need to do to get the buildings ready for next school year. So anything that you have,
So put 'em out.
any way you can reduce the number of bodies walking in and out of a building, also giving some local businesses a chance to be able to
I know
have some
that
of the
we
business.
approved the Just Kids for under 4.
Correct, correct.
So,
Yep.
You'll be
Stephanie
bringing-
Wright is actually still working through some of those details right
I was
now.
just
and-
wondering if
yeah.
that can extend, or are we going to have to approve new ones?
I think we're going to need a little bit more help because I think
I
that a lot of them are
understand that, 100%.
as far as more
100%.
agencies. So,
Yeah.
but there's a few we're looking at right now, and actually I expect tomorrow hopefully to have some more information. I'll be emailing to you
Yes.
in terms of who'll be able to help us out. But some of the places are filling up pretty quickly, and we want to make sure that our families have access. So,
Okay.
all right, Ms. Spezia, did you have a question? Did you have a
Set.
concern? Okay, all right.
Golden.
Okay, all in favor of appointing all those positions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried 7-0.
Thank you for adding explanations to a lot of it. I know a lot of times people, we would just approve things. I do want to mention, I do appreciate that you guys have been doing that this last year. It's just helpful.
good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you,
And
Ed.
we'll continue to do it, and if we, need to do something different, we can work on that. Unfinished business, do we have any unfinished business?
Where's that? Did we
it's
approve
8.
reports?
Oh, reports, excuse me.
I'll move on
Uh,
reports.
All the financial reports, which are very lengthy and takes a lot of time to go through. Any,
So we
can I have a
moved
motion to
I
approve
move.
the reports? Mrs. Bussey, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Kwiatkowski, any discussion? Sometimes this is the lengthiest part about getting ready for these board meetings. Okay, if there's no discussion, can I have a vote? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried 7-0. Okay, for unfinished business. Yes,
With,
Mr.
with the topic, I brought this up, I believe, I don't know, 2 or 3 meetings ago, about maybe working towards public comment being brought back. I know before the COVID, we had public comment about agenda items before the agenda, and then public comment about, I hate to say anything, but anything
Open.
at the end of the meeting. I was curious if we were gonna, maybe we can do that website thing, that email that we did, maybe we could do that on a regular basis, like have it out there.
Oh, it's still there. We can republicize it.
Yeah, that's what I meant, maybe
Yeah.
republicize it. And then, I don't know if there's a way, again, if we're looking at bringing people back, allowing them in the room,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, I don't know what the limits are right now, but maybe if you're interested, you would email and say, I'd like to attend the meeting, because I have questions.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't know what the number count is for the meetings.
Yeah, I believe the governor just yesterday bumped it up to about 50 people total
Okay.
that you can have. I think we still would want to be sensitive to social distancing, so
Yeah.
we may need to, I hate to say it, but move venues to a larger venue.
I
So-
was going to say,
yeah.
Yeah.
We're not,
No, but I mean.
that include us too.
Yeah.
And
so-
also, it may be a case of if someone can just email simple questions,
Yep.
they may not need to come and sit through an entire meeting. But then I was also, again, if we could discuss that, how we're gonna handle it. But then secondly, I was wondering if we can maybe move towards, if there is a pertinent question asked, maybe we can move towards publicizing the response, if we're allowed to. Obviously, there's certain
Sure.
times you can't discuss certain things publicly, but let's say I want to find out, I come and I speak before the board as a citizen, and I want to find out, I ask a question. A lot of times, the public hears the question, but they don't hear the answer. And they're always, people ask me, hey, what was the answer to this? So I was just curious, maybe we could have a section on the website. I know last time we were talking about board, having, under the board area where questions answered, we can give a synopsis of it, something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I'd like to discuss it if the board would consider discussing it.
I think that open, them sending questions in and responding, and it could go, that's a great idea, because then people that don't feel comfortable coming out into a board meeting at least can get questions answered.
Yeah, and then we
Great
could,
idea.
you could read it, Diane could read it, we could discuss it. I mean, I just think there's a lot of people with questions that they're not always looking for a fight. They're just curious about certain things, and, who wants to come here, sit for 3 hours, and then it could be, and instead of, messaging me on Facebook, it could be an email to there, and then we as,
We're actually going to use your Facebook page to do this. Okay.
okay, yeah.
That's how we're getting the questions.
That may not be a good idea.
I don't know if we have time for that.
Then the board gets to discuss, I would like to move towards that goal,
Yeah.
and I don't know if the rest of the board and you support
good
that,
idea.
or,
If everybody's comfortable with it, it wouldn't be difficult to facilitate.
Well, I think we've talked about it before, when we set up the email.
Yeah.
I think now that's able for them to submit a question prior. So I think if somebody was watching this and they wanted to say thanks for adding the speech or whatever, they would then be able to email something in live, current, and then we would be able to read that
like at the end of the meeting?
at the end of the meeting. It's something, and then eventually we'll just open the doors and everybody can come.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then if there's something that can't be addressed, you can easily respond with,
I
we'll
mean, we
reach
still
out to you
have
later.
the policy of,
Yeah.
we don't respond right there. It's usually within 24
Right.
hours, but it would still be
Right.
publicized.
Right.
So we would have it on the website.
Yeah, I like that. I appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to do a motion or anything, or
No,
If we just do it?
just a
Okay.
discussion.
You can just do it.
That's what we do.
I'm just asking already.
Yeah, and
Follow
I
the
know,
process.
yeah,
Can I
in
vote
our,
for someone else?
in our last retreat, we talked about revamping our website, so I'd like to get that in order too, just to make it easier for the board, just for the board website, to make it easier for people to get the board information. So, so we'll be working on that on our next, either a work session or someplace else. Okay, any other unfinished business? Okay, then for new business, again, we have a lot of different appointments, residency investigator, medical groups, school physicians, school health services, deputy district clerk, impartial hearing officer, Erie County School Board Association membership, different bids. So can I have a motion to approve all of those?
I'll move.
Okay, Mrs. Delbo, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Bussey, any discussion on any of those?
Well, yeah. I'm just glad that we will be Erie County School Boards. It's important
Yes.
to join.
Yes.
As far as the others, I think we talked about that, and we're going on record, I guess, not to join the states because of the money.
Yeah, to save some money this year, we're not going to be a member of the New York State School Board Association.
It's
So, but the Erie County School Board Association is very beneficial to us.
Absolutely.
yes, it is. And so also the nationals, we haven't for a long, 2 or 3 years anyway. That doesn't cost as much as the states, the nationals. But if anyone's interested in that, but
Yeah, we'd have to look into the benefits
right.
of, other than going to a national
Other than the
convention, what the
conventions,
benefits
because
would be.
it's- yeah.
So we'd have to look into that.
I think right now, not knowing what's coming down from the governor and stuff, I think it's safe. I'd rather take that money and put it towards staffing than to, we can get all the training we need through Erie County School Boards. So otherwise, I would love to stay as a member of New York State because I do benefit from that, but I think I'd rather put that towards staffing and save the money.
And
My
again, we're
opinion.
trying to be fiscally responsible and,
I
if
think
we
it's
expect
wise
other
thing.
departments to cut their budgets, we need to cut ours too, so.
And I think what we did is we did check with Nicole, because we wanted to make sure that all
Right.
the staff was
Right.
been able, that could be using it, is using it, and did they really need it? And I think with us not going on any trips or going anywhere this year, it was responsible enough for us that if we didn't need it, we don't need it.
And we also have our attorney firms that we use anyway, so we don't need to go through that. Sometimes they offer legal help, but
And
we
Mr.
don't need their attorneys.
Cervoni, our head of HR, our assistant superintendent, he also said that he doesn't have much contact with them. So he doesn't really use the services, and neither does our district clerk. So if we don't have a lot of people that are using the services, and we just pretty much use the convention. They do some nice training for board presidents, which I've been to, but we can always, I don't need it again, I guess.
That's the only,
If there's anything that you wanted to attend, you can pay a fee to do that.
Right.
So,
It just is a higher
it's just
price.
that, yeah.
Yes.
that's the one area, it's sad that they're not utilizing the legal services through the state because Jay is phenomenal and
Yeah, he is.
the law conference every year, which unfortunately was canceled this summer. But that's the one negative thing about not being, you know, because their legal services are phenomenal, and it doesn't cost us anything because we're in the association. Well, we were in the association.
Now, Erie,
Sad that other people don't utilize the service.
but Erie County will do the training for Jody,
Right.
because
Yes.
that'll be Erie County.
And I think
School
she's got
District.
those dates already.
Yeah, okay.
The 9B, when, remember how we talk about having different things in our work sessions or presentations by people of interest for the board? I would love to, at some point, find out more about that.
I think you listed it. Yeah, I think that was on the
I
list.
didn't know
think
if we
we
did,
did.
okay.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we'll do our calendar a little bit later.
Oh, maybe it's, see, wait a minute. Hey, well, you know what I'm getting at, that person, that position, I'd like to hear about it.
Yeah.
I've always wondered how it worked and all that, so.
Yeah, yeah, he's a good guy. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, all in favor of approving all of those appointments? Can I have a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, carried 7-0. Okay, so for 10, we have some more appointments, our, some internal appointments, and each of those appointments give Mr. Bystrad a whole bunch of other duties that he needs to do, and each of those appointments are in 10A are not, they go along with the job. They're not extra pay. And then we have impartial hearing officers, dignity for all students coordinators, chemical hygiene officer, school residency officer, safe schools committee, Title IX compliance officers, committee of preschool, special ed, asbestos control, impartial hearing.
You know what? Some of these committees, like we're gonna discuss the board committees, I'm assuming?
Yes.
After, so the names listed here are the ones that are currently serving? So then they would, if we change.
They
them-
will change.
They will change,
Yes,
okay.
they will change, yes, yeah. Yeah, it's just the,
Just clarification.
Yeah,
the position, the total committee, not the individual position.
Okay.
I think on that Safe Schools one, this is the only one that has board people listed anyway, on this one, you know,
Okay.
because you're on there. So are you-
Okay, and then for the designations, if we can lump all this together, or do we do that? Do we want to do that separately? We'll do that
Yeah.
separately. Okay,
think you can do it
so
together.
any discussion on all of 10? Okay, can I have a vote to approve those? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? And
Make a motion?
it's carried 7-0.
Did
Somebody
we
make a motion?
for that? I apologize.
Did we make, oh, okay, well,
I'll make the motion.
Mr.
And I'll
Bedia-
second the motion.
Mr. Bedia made a motion, but I didn't hear him loud enough, and Mr. Seibert seconded, and carries 7-0. That's why normally Mrs. Latka would sit next to me, she'd go, you didn't make a motion, so it's like, I don't have my crutch
I was
today.
almost afraid to ask though, because if we
No.
did and I wasn't listening.
Never, never. Okay, for the designations, so we've got 2 firms that we've used in the past for auditors. We have our different banks, M&T and Evans, KeyBank, for our different accounts, our energy consultants, our insurance, and the insurance is done through a cooperative bid with BOCES, so we get a good deal on those. School district attorneys, we have 2 firms that we use, local newspapers.
Why don't we use the Buffalo News? I mean, I just wondered why we have business first. I don't like business first. I think that's kind of strange.
Is it cheaper?
It might be, to
Well,
be quite
now-
honest with you. We, okay.
It's a lot
The
cheaper.
Buffalo-
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
and
legally, you have to have two.
Right, I know that,
Yes.
but I was wondering, Buffalo News isn't listed.
Right. We,
They use West Seneca BE, which is fine.
right.
yeah, and the Buffalo News really just raised their
It's-
rates
It's
a
just
lot.
cheaper to use
The
Business
only-
Yeah.
First. in
But they
Buffalo.
do
First
do,
game.
they are electronic, though. A lot of people get it electronically.
Yes.
Through the
What's the cost?
internets?
Huh?
It's through the internets now.
No, that's how I do it. Internet, whatever you want. People get
I'm just kidding.
Did you used to be a paper boy?
No, unfortunately not. I would just dump them at the first house.
Okay, so up to the newspapers. Can I have a motion to approve those?
Up to F.
Yeah, up to F.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Mr. Seibert, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mrs. Bussey, any discussion on approving those? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Carried 7-0. Okay, then, and this may take us a little while for our school board meeting schedule. So everybody was supposed to bring their calendars today, and at least if we can get through first couple of months, there's a couple of
Mandatory dates.
mandatory meetings, and a couple of, like the school board budget and things like that that we have to do. So,
Plus the governor. Changes it.
Melissa,
So-
Jan Lou, I'm sorry, but Jan Lou had some other dates too, right?
Yes, I have those.
Oh, you do?
I have
Okay,
those,
good,
yeah.
good, okay.
Right here.
okay, so, we usually have either a retreat or a second meeting in July. So,
July
because we need a retreat in July. I would think we'd need a retreat in July to go over our evaluation and to set our board goals.
July, later, like a couple weeks from now,
Yeah,
the 22nd, 23rd.
whenever we want to do
Well,
it.
I'm throwing out the 23rd.
Okay, a Thursday?
I'm fine,
I'm
23rd.
good with the 23rd.
Okay, 23rd, July 23rd? Okay.
Evening?
So that, yeah, and usually our meetings are 6 to 9.
July 23rd.
July 23rd, is that okay?
Thursday,
Thursday?
6 p.m.
Yes, I'm good.
Okay, is everybody set with that?
That's
Okay.
our retreat.
And that will be where that'll be a retreat. We go over our goals. We go over our self-evaluation, which we already did, and then we do our goals and discuss anything else that needs to be done. And do we want to just do it in district office? Do we don't want to do it in outside site? Where do we want to?
Do it.
Do it here.
Here? Okay, all right. So
I
district
know,
office.
I know that meeting runs, it'll probably run good long. Do we want to do 5:30 or anything, or 5? Just to,
You
I'll
wanna do-
volunteer if people want me to bring a snack or something.
What, do we want to do 5:30? Everybody's
I know-
good?
I know how long that
I
meeting-
can do 5:30.
That
It
meeting
doesn't matter.
runs.
Okay, everybody good with 5:30? Okay, so we'll do it 5:30.
But we'll start at 5:30. as
We'll
Diane
start at
would say.
5:30. Start at 5:30. So whenever you have to get here, you get here. So that's for our evaluation and goals.
Do it.
Okay, then, Mr. Vice Chair, do we need another meeting in July? Is there anything that comes up that we,
We can, if we have two in August, I think we'll be okay.
okay, all right. All right, okay, so
August 4th.
does anybody want to do a second meeting, or is the retreat enough? That's to get us going.
Well, yeah, that takes us to the 23rd, so there's really not much left
Yes,
in July
yeah.
anyways.
Okay,
Summer's almost over, guys.
yep.
Not until the fair,
Good.
Uh-oh, it's never over, no fair.
next year.
Not even
yes.
4th of July.
Yeah. Okay, August 4th, we need to adopt the tax rate, so we need to have a meeting August 4th.
So that could be our board meeting.
That could be our board meeting, yes.
go.
Kill two birds with one stone, right?
Everybody good with that?
Yes, ma'am.
6 o'clock again.
6 o'clock again, yeah. And if there's any appointments, with just a regular meeting on the 4th. Okay,
What, What about the 25th? Because of adding any staffing, would that be good, Mayor?
That'd be perfect.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that good with everyone, the 25th?
Works for me.
Yeah,
So we want to do August 25th?
Yeah.
Just in case
So
we
there'd
have
be
to add
a
staffing,
meeting
which we
Yes.
hope we do.
for any last minute.
my wife has graciously put on my calendar, no board meeting these days, and it's not one of those, so,
We're glad we can accommodate
yeah,
you.
thank you.
All right, let's see.
Okay, so that'll be any last minute additions, hiring,
Good.
things like that. Do we want to just do the 2 meetings in August? Is that
It's plenty.
sufficient?
Yeah.
It's plenty.
Do we
Okay.
want to, do you think we could always add another work
Right,
session
we
if
can-
we
yes.
have to?
I think
after-
as we get closer to the time of
Yeah.
school and what's coming down and what's being mandated,
We might need
we
another
might
one.
be here a little
Yeah.
while.
Yes, yes.
I agree.
We might be meeting often.
Yeah.
So, yes, once we know what all those executive orders
Is
are
everybody pretty
going to be.
much free after the 25th to the 31st? Because this way we can at least have a contingency plan?
No, oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Because my Florida trip is canceled.
That's what I was
so I'm
at,
open.
yeah.
I'm open.
This way we're
Sorry.
pretty much open, everybody pretty much open after the 25th in case there is
After-
something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even the week before, if we know something's coming down the pike,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
we can.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we
You
want to
can-
book a tentative meeting, like just tentative, so we all, like, if there's one?
That's what I was trying to get to. Maybe if we're looking at the 25th,
I mean, it's
right?
much easier to cancel a meeting than it is for
Yeah.
us to try to add one as closer we get.
So you want to do something on the 18th or something like that?
I can't do the 18th.
Okay.
I could do any other day but the 18th.
Where, are you talking August, right?
Yeah, in August, so.
How's the 31st look? I know it's a
The
Monday.
Monday, the 31st? Do you think we might need something earlier?
I would
just
say
because-
something maybe earlier.
What do you-
I just, because the next day we're bringing our staff in for the first time, so I can tell you I might be a little preoccupied with some,
Yeah.
some planning.
Do we,
Yeah, could we
It
do
might
something maybe the week of the 16th?
So the 17th or 19th?
Mary can't make the 17th, right?
no, I can do,
18th
the
she can't
18th I can't
She
do.
can't do
All
the
right.
18th.
Hold on, let me just check one more thing. I just got.
Okay.
17th.
You're good the 17th?
Yes, sir.
All right, let me see.
Gotta check all those baseball schedules.
Yeah, that's
and,
what I'm
you know.
checking. My daughter's softball.
We don't have our soccer schedule yet.
Yeah, I'm good.
You want the 17th then?
Yeah.
17th or 19th, what do we
Got
want?
tournament Saturday and
17th.
Sunday, not
17th, okay.
Okay, so August
So we'll
17th.
And-
do the 17th as a work session
Or,
and,
or we.
and see if,
What
see if we need it as, for a meeting.
What time on the
Do you wanna do-
17th?
yeah.
6 to 9 again?
Yep.
Okay. And then Nicole will be sending these out, right?
Yes.
All right.
So
Makes it a
it's-
lot easier.
Three
just to
times
get
in
it.
August, but
Yeah, I quit trying to write them down.
Yeah.
things are so
a
uncertain
godsend.
about opening the school and all. I think 3 meetings will be all right in August, actually.
Yeah, and we can always,
Yeah.
cancel them and
Yeah.
go from there.
Board of Health.
Okay,
Is your mic on? 'Cause
so
I'm having trouble
for
hearing you.
September.
Yeah. Hello there, Jody.
Now I can hear you.
Okay. So Labor Day's the 7th.
Do we want the 15th, or is that too late, Matt? Do you think you need something before
No,
that?
15, I think the 15th would work.
Okay, is everybody available the 15th for a board meeting?
Yeah, September, I just plan on kind of being here a lot anyway,
Yeah.
just to say, it's going to be busy just to start off
Yeah,
the
for
first
new
couple of
curriculum.
weeks.
Technically, what is the first day of school if the children come? I mean,
The 8th. Oh, no, I'm
The
sorry,
8th?
no, the 3rd.
The 3rd.
Thursday, the 3rd.
Yeah, so, okay.
Staff come back on the 1st and 2nd, and then the 3rd and the 4th with students and
Yeah.
on Labor Day. And
Okay, so the 15th is good for everybody? Okay. And do we want to schedule 2 meetings for,
29th.
like the 29th?
29th?
29 works.
Everybody go with the 29th? And that'll be our work session, so we'll do a meeting and a work session each month, and like I said, if we need to cancel anything, we can always do that. Okay, in October, the 13th needs to be the presentation of the financials. So is everybody okay with doing the financials?
Sorry, what
and
date?
Pardon?
What date?
13th. October 13th is for the presentation of the finals of the financials. Is everybody okay? Okay.
We'll be off Columbus Day, correct?
There's still one. And do we want to do a work session, maybe on the 27th?
27th, right?
Work session on the 27th? Everybody good with that?
Yep.
Of October?
October, yeah. Okay, going over to November.
It's almost Christmas.
You can tell it's COVID because none of us are traveling.
Yes. Can't travel till March. So in November, do we want to do the 10th and the 24th? The 2nd and the 4th?
Perfect.
Anybody not good with those? Okay, so
Hold
we'll
on.
do
Oh.
the 10th and the 24th?
I can't do the 24th, but that's okay.
It's Thanksgiving week, yeah.
It is Thanksgiving week.
And what is the one in October? What are the dates? They're the 13th and 27th?
13th and 27th.
13th and 27th. And Mary, you can't do November what?
24th.
So what about like the 3rd and 17th?
That's what I was looking at.
Third is election day.
17th I can't do.
Third is election
Is-
day. I don't know, it's kind of tough.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know if it's taboo.
If you want to do can we do the board meeting on the 10th and do our board retreat a different day?
Yeah.
Or work session on that?
Yeah.
20
You want to do the work session on the 17th?
17th I can't do.
16th?
Oh, you can't do the 17th, and you
You
can't do
could-
the 24th.
Right.
Can we do
the
10,
16th.
16?
16?
That's fine. So that's
16?
the work session?
Yeah.
Okay, so the
16 on
work
a Monday.
session is November 16th?
And do you want the 10th, the regular meeting?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so in December, what about the 8th? And what if, because of the holiday and whatever, we just do one meeting in December? Because there's usually not a lot going on in December. So is December 8th good?
It's good for me.
Okay. Okay, January. Okay, so vacation goes until the 1st. So we want to do the 12th and the 26th, kind of stick to the 2nd and the 4th.
Wait a minute, Diane, let me pull up my calendar
Okay.
on my phone, please.
Did you say no for the 5th? If we're not meeting a second time in December, do we want to consider the 5th and
We could do the 5th
19th?
and the 19th, we could do that?
I can't do the third Tuesdays of every month. It's my credit union board meeting.
5th and 26th?
That's fine.
So we want to do the 5th and the 26th?
Seems
Okay, 5th and the 26th?
like we have
As
no.
long as
Going,
it's not the
going?
inauguration. I'm
Everybody
going to the
good?
inauguration.
Okay.
Okay.
So the 5th will be our board meeting, and the 26th will be our work session. Okay, February. February break is the 15th to the 17th, so the building will be closed.
So we do 9/23?
Yeah, why don't we do 9/23?
9/23? Sounds good. So 9 will be the board meeting, and 23 will be our work session.
This is going a lot easier than last year.
There's nothing.
Because there's nothing going on.
We'll just keep going.
Yeah, absolutely.
Larry,
20
none of us are traveling.
So February is the 9th and the 23rd.
Into March.
March 9th and 23rd?
23.
Okay, I will not be here from the 7th, maybe, to the 27th, so
We need a new
Larry
president.
can run the meetings, but when do you want to have it in?
Well, we have March 9th, which is the budget presentation.
Yeah, we have.
That's
have-
like a have to,
Yeah.
Oh,
right?
right, and we have to
30th
have the
is the-
9th and the 30th.
And the 30th.
Okay.
That's fine.
So we really just stick with
We-
those
we
two,
don't have
right?
to
Yes.
worry about it. But what about, Diane, you're gone from what?
I'm gone from the 8th, maybe, see if the trip goes, the 8th to the 27th.
Okay.
Wow.
going to Morocco.
Oh, how nice. Hopefully.
Okay, so
Then what-
I was supposed to go this past March. Okay.
Where did she say she's going? Grand Island?
Grand
It's a long way. I have to walk.
Bring your ID.
Okay, so.
Yeah, we're mandated anyway with March, right? With
Right, the
30th?
budget presentation is March 9th, and the budget adoption is the 30th.
30th.
Okay,
yeah.
we're fine.
Okay, so we all set with that?
Off to April.
Okay, April vacation is the 5th to the 2nd to the 9th.
Yeah, Easter's on the 4th.
So do we want to
13th,
do?
27th?
13th and 27th?
I can't do the third, well, yes, I can. 13th?
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay,
13th.
so the 13th will be our
We go
board
to
meeting,
Morocco.
and the 22nd will be our work session. 27th. Okay, so for April, the 13th and the 27th. Okay, so for May, on the 4th, we have the budget hearing.
May the fourth be with you.
And will the 18th be the
And the
election?
18th is the vote.
And the 18th is the vote.
So do we want to do a work
11th or-
session on the 11th? Is that okay? Or do you want to do it on the 25th?
I think personally the 25th would probably be better.
Okay.
Okay, all right, so we'll do on May 25th, we'll do our work session, and the budget hearing will be on the 4th, and the vote is on the 18th.
I'm just,
Getting there.
And then June,
can I ask for clarification?
yes,
I saw it somewhere. I've had a lot of paperwork in the
Yes.
last few days. One of those days is a full 12-hour day? It was scheduled for us?
that is the budget vote. So it's not for, it's, the vote will be held for 14 hours, but we don't have to be there for 14 hours.
Perfect. Okay.
When I was a candidate, we did. We
Did.
stood in
I
front. It's
lucked
like,
out.
That's my
Thank you, COVID.
yes,
The
yes.
You're
only
the
thing-
only one that's thinking that.
It's the only thing I'm thankful for is not melting under a tent.
Yes, yes.
Standing in the East Senior parking lot for,
Yep, that was not a fun day.
Or going
The
door
results was good, but not fun.
Yeah.
June.
Or going door to door, the weeks before. We couldn't even do that this year,
Yeah.
right?
You guys,
Okay, so,
tell me,
What, on the 25th are we meeting? Is that what you said?
well,
the
on June
20,
8th,
May 25th.
Yeah.
yeah.
So May 4th, the vote is the 16th, and then we have a work session on the 25th.
The vote's the
What about-
18th, the vote.
What about the
Yeah.
8th, June 8th for our meeting? Is that good for everyone?
June 8th
Everybody
is
good for June 8th?
Sure.
And then unfortunately, I can't do the 15th, guys, and we don't want to go, hopefully we have graduations there for the June 22nd, 21st, 2nd, or 23rd.
Yeah, because
So what about the 16th?
the last day of exams is
Or
the
the 4th, can you do
25th.
the
Or the
14th?
14th?
I can do the
That's fine with me.
14th.
Want to do the 14th? Okay.
That's why we do 8/14.
Workshop session?
It's almost like we should probably kind of really think about like that, doing our board meetings on a Tuesday, and when we can, do our work sessions on a Monday.
I would love that.
Can,
That would
can I
be
just
You know
throw
what I mean?
something out? Just something to consider for June. I don't know what the schedule is going to be like in terms of, there's just a lot of events at night. Like it
Yeah.
could be, the baccalaureate, it could be the, a concert. I mean, there may be some things that you may want to be doing in June. So again, it's easy to cancel a meeting, but it's just June. Like I know in June I'm out every night of the week at some
Well,
event
we
or
can
another.
always, we can always change it as
Sure.
a
Yeah,
board, but I
yeah.
think right now we'll just set it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll hope for the best for now.
Yep. So for
You know?
June 8th is our board meeting, and the 14th is a work session, and again, any of these can,
Subject to
um,
change.
this-
subject to change.
Usually,
Didn't we just
We
hold a
have to
meeting?
honor our retirees too, one of
yeah,
those meetings.
that would be
So it
the
works,
14th, yeah. Oh, the 8th?
The 8th,
Oh, the 8th,
yeah.
okay.
Earlier in the month, and that's why she has it at 5:30.
Okay, 5:30 on the 8th?
Because of the
we wanna-
retirees?
Okay, so the 8th will be at 5:30,
Okay,
and that will be
The retirees.
the
Yeah.
retirees.
nice.
and what about, instead of doing it during, like Matt said, Mr. Bystrick said, what about like the 20th or 29th, like later in the month?
Well, we could always switch it. Usually a lot
If
of,
there, I understand what you're saying, but you know, when we get to like the 14th and we want to switch it, we're all going to be booked
Okay.
in. So I'm just asking, do
Well,
we
then
want to
why
get
don't-
past graduations and all that?
why don't we put another one in, and if we have it, or we can
We'll
cancel
just do
it.
1428, just
Yeah,
in
do the
case.
28th.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Okay.
Hey, you know I'm good with that.
You're all fired up.
and that's a work.
I like my meetings.
And that's another work.
It's only
session.
because you have 5 children at home. No.
Okay, so, you has to make sure school opens.
A lot of boards.
Okay, so in June, the 8th, it'll be our 5:30, our retirees. The 14th will be our work session, and the
28 is a
28th
provisional.
will be, pardon?
A provisional on 28.
Right, a possibility for, if we're not wiped out by then. Okay, great.
And then the reorg meeting is chosen how? For
After-
July.
Yeah.
Next
Next
June.
June.
Yeah. So
Yes.
whoever, yeah, so that way whoever.
'Cause you may have
runs
new
and
people
gets
to
has
talk to.
Participation in.
Did you have it?
Yeah.
Pick
Yeah,
a-
she was
I
here for the
don't
last
remember
board
how it's
meeting.
done, so that's why I'm
Yeah,
asking.
we just, at the last board meeting, we just said, when do we want to have the reorg?
that's
And
right.
then,
There was a
I
whole-
Yes.
picked
Yep.
from the
She was
chairs
here.
back there.
It's all coming back.
It's all coming back to me now.
all coming back.
We'll replay the tape.
Okay. Any other questions about that? Whoa, that was easier. Like you said last year, it was kind of tough. So, so this is good. Okay, liaisons. I sent out an email
Do we
and
need
asked,
to approve that though?
oh,
Yeah, we didn't.
can
go
I have a
up to-
motion to approve all those
I'll move.
dates? Okay, Mrs. Bussey.
I'll
Second, Mr. Bedient. Any discussion? We've already had that. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried 7-0. Okay, can I have a do I do a motion to, well, let's do the liaisons first. We'll appoint the liaisons, and then we'll make a motion to approve all them. Okay, so, so last year, we had the community education.
I want to,
So, Mr. Bedient, Mr. Kwiatkowski, and Mr. Siebert were the liaisons, which means they go to the meetings, they, and then they bring back to the board anything that they have discussed. So would those 3 like to still do it? Anybody else would like to do it?
I would like to continue
I would like to
as
continue.
long as Larry
Okay.
doesn't. No, I'm just kidding.
No, I'm going to step down and
Okay.
allow
I'm interested.
Miss Jody
Mrs.
to do it.
Pescia, okay.
Jody, you gonna do it?
Alrighty, thank you for doing that. Okay, the internal audit, is that twice a year?
Yes.
That they meet and they go over it with the auditors. And so it was Mr. Bedient, Mr. Kwiatkowski, and Mr. Siebert.
I still would like to be on that, please.
Okay, Mr. Siebert would still like to be on it. What about Mr. Bedient?
I love it.
Mr. Kwiatkowski?
I'd like to stay.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, so that will just carry over. Safe Schools, Mr. Bedient and Ms. Bussey, Mrs. Bussey.
Yes. I would like to stay on that. And
Okay.
I'm sure I would. too.
I really love it, but I think it's something I'd like to see Jody. I'd like to see if she's interested. I don't know if we could do 3, or I'll step back if we can.
Okay.
Would you like to do the Safe Schools?
I would
Okay.
do safe schools as a 2 or a 3.
Are we allowed to just have 3, or do we have to have 2?
No,
We're the
it's
board,
two.
we can have whatever.
Yeah.
No.
Can we afford
It's a,
3?
it's a
I
big
guess that's the
committee.
question.
It's a big committee, yeah.
It's whatever. I know I went to one of the
SROs are on
meetings,
there,
and
yeah.
it's, they
Yeah.
do it in the cafeteria.
Make a
and it's
motion that we
big group.
expand the school board committee, please.
Expand the
The school board or the safe
Safety
committee?
schools board.
Safe Schools.
So Jody,
Okay,
too?
so Mr. Bedient and Ms. Bussey would like to do it, and Mrs. Pescia?
Yes,
Okay.
please.
So we're going to go from 2 for 3, right?
Okay,
All right.
public relations.
Mary and Jody.
So Mr. Bedient and Mrs. Delbo were on that last year. Do you still want to do it?
You know, I absolutely want to be part of that group. So, I'm not looking to hog everything, but I loved it.
I don't have to be on that if someone would.
Anybody else want to be on that?
I don't know if I should bite off more than I can chew on your own.
Which, Jody, I was hoping you'd take my spot for the sports.
I'm holding out for sports.
Okay,
Good.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, so anybody else for public relations? Are we good with 2?
I'll be
Okay.
as the alternate.
Pardon?
Pete could be the
Peter wants,
alternate?
yeah.
I'll be an
Okay.
alternate for Ed.
All right.
Oh,
Well, you
good,
don't have to
Peter.
be, you could go to it too. They can have 3 people there.
2.
Okay, Pete. Alternate.
Alrighty, so we have Mr. Bedient, Mrs. Delbo, and Mr. Gutowski. For the athletics and sport boosters, Mrs.
Ooh,
Delbo,
I
Mrs.
want
Bussey.
West.
Mrs. Bussey's going to pass it to Jody.
I'd like to, if anybody's not doing, I'd like to be with West if they could, alternate or regular, whatever's easier.
Well, just take, you could be Carol's spot and we could be standing at the end watching those games. Same.
Jan and Larry?
Larry, you want,
And you're
you're
doing
taking,
I'll do East.
yeah.
Yes,
I
please.
was
Nice.
hoping
Okay.
you would.
All right,
Yes.
Because I know that you're very involved.
yes.
Well, you know, my daughter there,
Okay.
I'm there anyway, so.
And
Oh, you want
that's what I
West?
said, we're there anyway, Larry.
Okay,
But
so who do we have for the sports boosters?
Jody
We have
for East.
Ms. Delbo, Ms. Pescia, anybody else?
And Larry.
And Larry?
Yep.
Larry, are you?
Yep, I'm
Okay.
good.
And then for the capital projects, it's usually the president and the vice
It
president.
stays
so-
that way, yeah.
Yeah, keep
You-
it the
okay.
same, because you
We're all
meet
set.
during the day too, don't you, on that? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, sometimes it's a during the day type
Yeah.
thing. So, okay, for the Erie County Association of School Boards, for the delegate, we have Mrs. Bussey, anybody,
I would
and Mr.
appreciate.
Siebert's the.
Yes. the two
Yeah,
of us.
we can still do it
You wanna
together.
still do that?
Yes, because I chair committees on that, so it's easier for me being a delegate, being at the meetings to chair the meetings. Chair some of the
Kill two birds at one stone.
committees.
The legislative committee, I would like to be on that this year.
Oh,
Why
that'd
don't
be
you take
wonderful.
Carol's spot, because I'd
Yeah.
like to be it.
Okay, so Mrs. Dalbo and myself, anybody else want to be involved in that?
I'd like
Okay.
to be involved with that too.
Okay.
You're always welcome. You know,
I'd
when
like
we
to
have
make a
meetings, you
motion
can,
to expand.
you can come.
You know,
We're the board, we can expand.
I'm expanding
We
it.
can let them know that there's a rep and 2 delegate and 2
Alternates, yeah.
You know, because they like to have more.
the same thing with the delegates, they always are
Yeah,
open
no,
for.
we
Yes,
want to
yeah.
encourage more participation.
Correct, I
Right,
agree.
Right.
That's a
Do
real
the 3 of you
effective
ride
committee.
together to Albany, or?
No,
We don't always go to Albany. This year we
Depends on
probably
the
won't.
circumstances. You know? If we still have social distancing, it's, I don't know.
A lot of times you can meet locally.
I got it
But
down to
like-
4 hours and
So-
20 minutes, guys.
Okay, for the budget and finance for the Erie County Association of School Boards, we had Mr. Seabird and Mr. Gutowski. Do you still want to do it? Does anybody else?
yeah, we'll do it. I'll do it.
Sure.
Sure.
And I
Okay.
think, can we add Jody and expand that, just so Jody
Yeah,
gets
Jody-
to
Jody-
get-
Ask her.
Jody, if
Ask
you
her.
don't mind, so at least, or come in with us with the delegates or something, just so you can get
Can you,
involved.
Can you elaborate on what it entails?
Okay, so the budget and finances, you meet probably, I'm thinking 3 times,
Wait a minute,
maybe
I
2 or 3
have,
times. And you
someplace here.
go over the Erie County School Boards Association's budget and finance. That's what it is.
Locally, because it's Erie County?
Yeah, it's Erie County School Boards,
Yeah.
yes. So it's at nighttime,
Yeah.
the meetings.
Jody, for the, are you talking about the delegate or the budget and
The
finance?
Finance?
Budget and finance, they're meeting October 8th, June 7th, and February
I
11th.
said 3 meetings, yeah.
Yeah, we got this, we got an email. Someplace I got this information. Um,
8.
So the budget is the 8th, October 8th, January 7th, and February 11th. And I have the other dates if anybody else is interested.
What was the one that was the 7th? I'm sorry.
January.
January 7th,
January 7th and
February 11th.
Yep,
And
thank you.
for,
What were those dates again?
like I said, I got this off an email, and it lists all the duties of it. I didn't copy that. I did copy the legislative ones, but I didn't copy that. So, but you can get it from the Erie County Association of School Board website,
Okay.
and it just says what you need to do.
Jody, you'll be on they send emails all the time, so you'll get to read all their emails.
So now, for the Erie County School Boards, which position are you taking?
She's going to be a third person for the budget and
Budget and
finance.
finance.
For the
So
budget,
she can
okay.
learn. I think it's a great opportunity, and you're welcome to come to delegates too, or even legislative ones. It's a good learning.
Diane, can you just shoot those dates at me one more time? I checked them on my calendar, but I didn't write them down.
Expecting to find the paper here.
October 8th, January 7th, February 11th.
There you go.
Attaboy, Peter.
Peter for
What's that for?
president next year.
That's the budget. Oh, the
That-
budget.
That's for the budget, and then I have the legislative team here also, the dates. For the legislative team, it's September 24th, October 15th, November 19th, January 21st, March 18th, and April 22nd.
And also, there's a lot of local
Yes, yeah. You
stuff
meet
that
with the
we do.
locals
Yeah.
and, and all of
Diane,
that.
while
It's
you're
pretty active.
Give me the delegate meetings while you're at it.
The delegate meetings are September 10th, January 14th, and April 15th.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody need any of those dates again, or are we all set? Okay. Paper everywhere. Okay, we had discussed this last year. Do we want to have each board member be designated to a specific school and just make sure that, that the concerts are covered and everybody knows what's going on in that school? Do we want to do
That's a good
that
idea.
this year?
Can I ask one other thing? We cross off the New York State one, right?
Yes, yeah, New
Okay.
York State is, we're not going to,
Right, we're not.
Belong
I
to
don't
that
know
this
if
year.
I think they're gonna let us vote.
Well,
They're not
yeah,
gonna
you
let us vote
can, you
next
can
year,
go
are they?
down and vote.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you just pay.
vote for what?
No, you can't.
Oh, you can't vote?
No.
Oh, you ain't pay your dues, you ain't voting.
This
you
is
don't-
true.
if
You
you
can
don't
go
vote.
to it, though.
No,
You
we
you
can't.
can.
You
yeah,
can't vote, but you can go to it.
Yeah, you
without
can go to
pay.
it.
Yes.
But you can't, I don't think you
can't-
can, you can't be a voting
can't
member
vote.
unless
You
you,
can't cast a vote.
No.
you pay your fee.
Pay your fee.
You're right.
So,
So,
Okay.
Diane, when you talk about this, each board member doing it, are we going to try to link together our talks of what we've discussed before about maybe tying in with the PTAs of the schools and everything
Right.
that we were going to do with discussions?
get
Everybody
a
kinda
little
wonder
more
what everybody's
involved
thought
with
was.
with the school, as such. So you'd be the liaison if there's any, see what's going on with the PTAs. Show that we're supporting the different organizations in the school.
I was not privy to that conversation. I was not here, but I am still in favor of it.
Okay.
That's a good idea.
Anybody have any other? Okay, so do we want to pick schools tonight? Do we
Right.
want to?
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes.
Just as my own opinion, maybe we try to pick a school we're not already intimately involved with.
Whatever, whatever works.
Give
I'm not
a
involved
chance
with
to
any of them,
meet
so.
new people and meet other sides,
I thought, yeah, but if you have a student in a building, you're more interested in it,
I'm sorry?
I said, if you have a kid in one of the buildings, you're more interested in it, though.
I'm already
That
there,
might
though.
be-
Yeah,
Right.
I understand. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to pick, say, Winchester or West Middle, but I'm also thinking maybe an East Side school, just because I'm not typically at a lot of their PTA meeting, I'm just throwing it out there for discussion if the board wants to consider a school that they're not personally intimately involved in.
Do the
That's all.
PTAs feel intimidated when you attend a meeting, though?
I don't think the Winchester PTA does. I could be wrong.
I don't know, Jody, what do you
They
think?
would-
But
'Cause
you
you're
couldn't-
you're
I'd say-
involved with the
they wouldn't
PTA.
tell
I'm
you
on the
'cause
board
you
of
got-
East Middle PTO, so I'm already there.
But I mean, do you think that if a board member showed up, I mean, you'd have to tell them ahead of time that you were going to come, but do you think if a board member showed up at a PTA meeting, PTO, whatever they call them, that there would be a problem?
Nope, I just think that the mom hair don't care would change because someone important was there.
Hmm.
Other than that, I don't think anything else would change.
I was quite excited when board members would come visit,
Absolutely.
when I was part of the board
It's
and the
great.
PTA and all that.
It's great if our teachers come, if our administrators come, and it doesn't always happen at a PTO meeting where you have representation from the district, other than the parents, so.
I mean, having DPC gone, I think this is a good way to.
To show our involvement in
Yeah, I mean,
our
DPC
interest in the
was a
schools?
vital. I believe it was a vital part of the parents, the teacher, the entire. I mean, we would visit a different school every month, the principals would be there, there'd be different teacher reps would be there. I mean, even, if anyone involved in that building usually would show up to that meeting, that DPC was kind of being hosted. So Winchester would host, you know, every year we would host, I believe, in October. That was our month to host
Right.
DPC. So we would, you know, we would bring in, you know, just anyone involved in that building, and then invite the board, invite the administrators. And it was a great way to do it. DPC's missing, so I don't know if this could help fill that. Or anyone watching wants to start DPC back up again, that would be great.
I think, Diane, for the PTAs and PTOs, I think it'd be nice to get, if you can get the dates, if they have their dates out for their meetings in times, because sometimes if it's during the day, some people might not be able to attend, or if it's at nighttime, you know what I mean, and vice versa. So I think it's a great idea. I just think for me to pick, to go to what, I need to know dates, to, you know what I mean, and times. So I don't know. Jody, usually what time do you meet? During the day or?
East Middle, either, we alternate 3:15 or 6 p.m.
Okay, all right,
We alternate depending on what the agenda is and who needs to be there.
okay.
Whether or not we need administration. If we need administration, we meet at 3:15.
Okay.
If we do not, we'll meet at 6 and open it to more parents who are able to come, who are working parents in the district.
Because I know sometimes some of the PTAs, they have them during the morning, or, and I know like
Yeah.
the sports boosters are in the morning. So that's why it was difficult for me to go.
Sports boosters is in the morning?
They, yeah,
Uh-oh.
sorry. Yeah, they were meeting in the morning.
How often?
3 times a week.
I'm sure your boss will let you off, won't he? I'll talk to him.
You'll talk to them? All right.
She works for my nephew.
Oh, does she? Oh, okay, yeah. Well, they were early, so then you
Okay.
could go to work after.
Okay.
There you go.
Yeah.
It worked.
10,
And
11
if you-
o'clock meetings just do not work for.
No, I think they were more.
Yeah,
working
and
people's
if you pick a school, that doesn't mean you have to go to every PTA
Right.
meeting. You could
Correct.
just show up once in a while, you know, it's,
We could continue this conversation at a work session too, if we want to get some info from the PTAs and
Yeah.
stuff.
I think if we could
Okay.
reach out to the PTA members and maybe get some collaboration of dates from them,
Yeah,
what they're
that's what
looking
I'm
for,
thinking, yeah.
But one,
and then we
when,
put,
when do they do that?
So they should have elected their presidents in
Bless you.
May. I'm not sure that happened.
Yeah, it
It
was-
happened
No.
at East Middle, but I don't know if it happened. We have our new board at East Middle,
Okay.
but I'm not sure if it happened. I'm
Yeah.
willing to take on that responsibility of reaching out to the PTO presidents.
Okay, all right.
And
Oh,
So if you
find
want
out.
to,
Wonderful.
yeah, so if you want to do that and then bring the information to our work session,
Yes, ma'am.
and then we can just further discuss
Yeah,
that.
just
we could also,
vet this out a little bit better.
yeah, one thing I want to do, and you can add this into the parking lot if you'd like. I don't know, let's just hypothetically.
Somebody else has to keep the parking lot. Okay, go on.
Just because you didn't like my parking lot doesn't mean it wasn't valid.
Was somebody else's writing, but anyways, go on.
Define parking lot.
So I tend to go on tangents, and
Like
this is a
now?
way of keeping things focused. We write it down and then talk about it later, like another time, because we're trying to solve one problem,
So
it's kind of
it's-
like a,
It's almost like tabling it
Yeah, like
until
tabling it.
later, when we can have a fuller discussion.
if
Okay, so
things,
what is this for the parking lot?
so let's just say things are the way they were a year ago. One idea I was having was, instead of having a bunch of kids coming to the board meeting in this room, presenting, like doing I love when they do the musical numbers or they play the instruments. I was thinking about once a month, having, again, this goes back to where DPC would highlight a different building. Maybe we go visit a PTA meeting, or we go visit something at that school, because now you don't have a whole bunch of people having to come here for a board meeting. That, again, I love having them exposed to it, but then they leave after they present anyway, and you got parents rushing to get their kids here. And again, even if it's I loved that performance we did down in the gym. I believe it was the Little Mermaid preview, which was great.
That was appreciation night.
Yeah, it was it was appreciation night. So I apologize. That might not be the best example, but we have a lot of commotion going on for what's supposed to be a board meeting. So I was thinking about maybe we every once a month go to the building and they could perform. If Am I being,
I think I understand what you're saying.
without sounding like a jerk?
No.
Not at
Yeah,
all, Ed.
yeah.
I think I'd want to at least have some conversation with the building principals about that too.
Yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
get their
It just
feedback and
seems
input
like
on
there's
that.
a lot of work involved in getting, like, I love highlighting the buildings, and I love the tours. The tours are great, and then we bring a bunch of people here, and then it's hot, and it's loud, and, you know, it just, I wouldn't mind visiting their home as opposed to making them come here.
I think it's a good idea, Matt, when you're having a conversation with the principals, why don't you ask them if we can tape them doing a performance, so that way we can play it at the board meeting, so it can be seen by everyone. I just think that way,
But-
all students can participate in it, if parents can't get them here, or if they have, other activities that they're doing.
So do you mean going to the building, just
Having-
like
But
Ed's
we do the
describing?
tours, so my opinion's different than Mary's. I would think if we were gonna go visit, say, West Middle, we could pop our heads in during a rehearsal and see a part of a rehearsal. You know, like find something, or again, let's say Winchester's having a PTA meeting and we're going, that could be when the Fiddle Club plays. Because now you're only getting board members and administrators coming to visit. You could get more parents, you can get and the PTAs would probably support having a larger crowd coming to one of their meetings. You know, I mean,
Their literacy nights,
yeah,
things like
yeah.
that.
And so each
Show
maybe,
more presence.
Maybe each
Yes.
month when we're highlighting a building, I know we do a daytime tour, which might not always work for us who are, some of us like have schedules where we can't make the daytime tours.
The retirees are on this side, the workers are on this side.
With the worker
It
bee.
seems to me
Whether
that this is a month-by-month thing, though.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
So at one of our work sessions, maybe we can take 15 minutes and say this month, or
What's
next
coming up.
month,
Yeah.
this is
This
what's
this
going
is what we
on.
could do, and, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah, I would, when
there's-
we have the schools, if we're still going to honor the schools each month, a different school, I would like them to come in and tell us about a special program that they have. Like at Northwood, when they talked about the ESL or the ENL program, I'd like to hear more about the program, a special program that the school is running, so we get more of a flavor for the educational pieces.
sure. I
And that's a good idea, but I think off
don't
of
want to miss
Ed,
out on the art
Yeah.
part of it too.
yeah.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Mine was, I think it's important because we're all here for students. Instead of bringing the students into a board meeting, what I was asking, if it's okay with the principals, to have someone video something going on, and if
And
it's.
play it.
And
Play it here at the
Yeah.
board meeting, instead of bringing all the students and parents here, because a lot of kids have other things going on with, well, hopefully they have sports and dance and,
And don't
stuff going
forget-
on.
Let's see what goes on next year.
Yeah.
Don't forget, we have opportunities to go to all their concerts. We have opportunities to see their
Yeah.
performances. And I think our presence there is important, and that's an encouragement
Right.
to the schools.
Right, but each month when we highlight a school
Right.
and we go
Yeah.
visit, and then they come make a big to-do about something, I'm thinking it might be a lot easier for them if we go to that big to-do there.
It's easier to travel as a group of 7 than it
Yes,
is a group
than
of
than
24.
to have all the kids
Worst
and,
case
yeah.
With
scenario, we
parents,
could-
in
Yeah,
cars.
yeah.
Hop in my
Yeah,
minivan
right.
and we'll all go together, right?
What?
No?
I'll drive myself.
Wait a minute, I've seen you drive, I don't know. No.
Well, I think it's two different things. So I know,
Yes.
Diane, like,
Yeah.
what you were saying is having the principal or some teachers come in and present some programs that they're doing in their school, which
I
would
love
go with
that.
that. And then mine was just whatever the performance was going to be. It could be that school, or it could be something, it's just that I'm looking at, so because of social distancing and maybe parents all can't get their students, for now, maybe that might be a conversation to have.
I wonder if we couldn't just marry the two, like kind of both of what you're saying. So if we happen to, because we were doing monthly building tours. So
right.
if you folded something into that, and that same month, so you go to Northwood, and then that same month at the board meeting, Northwood would show up at the board meeting. So if you do what Ed's describing and what Mary's describing, you videotape whatever it was, the Fiddle Club, or whatever event it was, if it's videotaped, it could be viewed at the next board meeting.
Right,
So
that's
kind
right.
of, it's kind of what you're
Right.
both describing.
Right.
It just
Right.
adds a little extra layer in terms of the visit, that's all. So let me talk to the building principals about pulling
Okay,
something like that
great.
together.
But that way, no one's missing, and anyone
Yeah.
that's watching the
Yeah.
board meeting can see
Sure.
the performance that they might not be able to go to the school.
Okay, so think
that
about what
PTA
school
meeting or
you'd like to represent, or, and if we want to do that, and then we'll talk about it at our next work session. Okay, any other liaisons that anybody wants to have, or is this a good sampling? We all set with this?
Is our music department represented?
I tried.
Is it what?
I've always,
The music department? We have sports boosters, but we don't have music
Yes,
boosters. And music, we're a huge music school. We're so,
Yeah, the year that I was on the Music Boosters, I was kind of asked not to come to their meeting, so I don't know.
yeah. I
That's
find
why
that-
I ask the
So
question.
it's-
Sometimes it's
yeah.
intimidating.
Yeah.
But, so sports boosters aren't intimidated, but the band boosters are? Is that what it was?
I don't know.
I don't know,
but
if you want,
I don't know, Jan just said it, I'm just asking.
No, I said sometimes, that could happen. I'm
Yeah.
not saying it has happened. I'm
if we
just saying it
can,
could happen.
because prior to my first year on the board, it was athletic boosters and music boosters, and some people were the athletic booster and some were the music, and then the music went to the wayside. So do we want to have somebody
Sure.
to go to the music booster meetings?
I think our arts side of our school is just as important as our athletics, so absolutely.
Okay.
Would Jody and I be possible for that?
Do you have an interest in the, in the music?
I might have a little bit of interest.
Just
in
a
music.
little bit.
You're always there anyway.
She goes the
Yeah.
west.
Yeah.
How about we do some of the events that are like just one marching band too? We can go to both sides and the marching
Yeah,
band.
absolutely. That's
But I believe if I'm speaking out of turn, I believe Band Boosters is the only group that raises, is there other boosters in the music department, or is it just Band Boosters?
I don't believe so. Don't quote me on that, but I
I
don't
don't
believe
know.
so, yeah.
I hate to sound like I don't know, but
No, it's
Band
I
just
don't know of any other
Boosters is
boosters
doing,
for the
I believe,
music department, put it that way.
Yeah.
It's not to say that individual groups don't fundraise,
No,
but that's the
no.
only boosters group. If you
that's the
run
only
music.
one.
So
That's
is
the
it going
only
to be
one.
the music, or is it going to be just the band?
I would say music, right?
Music.
Music?
Band,
Okay.
band?
Band, strings,
Music.
choir, musicals.
Well, that's when you go to the events, and encourage them.
But I think marching, the boosters is the marching band.
That's right.
They
You're
raise
right.
money for the marching band. Like they're doing a bottle and can drive. You can probably look up their Facebook page and check it out.
When is
but yeah,
that?
We could,
Nice
we could
plug.
do any type of, yeah.
And maybe call it music and arts and incorporate art into it too. I know it doesn't have a whole lot of gusto.
We'd they'd have to create another boosters organization. So you'd have to get some parents to get together or like between the teachers and parents to create an art boosters program. That's
Well,
all.
But even to support some of the clubs in the school, such East Middle has a mural club that Miss Elac runs. It doesn't raise money, need money, but
Yeah, I
it
think
should be.
she's more looking as an advocate.
Yeah, it should be
Yeah.
showcased,
But wouldn't
and
there-
they should feel special.
Jody, wouldn't that go under, let's say if you represented that school? Do you know what I'm saying? So if you choose, let's say West Senior, and they're having some, I think that if, what I'm thinking Diane was saying, if we're like the liaison you're the liaison to West Senior, you would report. Plus, not only, we have students that sit on our board, and the students report all the events of their high schools.
At the two high schools, yeah.
So, I mean, is that what you're
We
looking
can figure it
at?
out.
Yeah,
I
we-
mean,
Yeah.
it's not like there's any laws
I just
on
don't
this,
want-
right?
I don't know if they
Leave
meet, though.
out-
Do
we
they
have
meet?
athletics.
Who?
We have music.
Band Boosters meets.
We can't
Band,
leave
but I'm
out-
saying is art and music, do they meet?
Can't leave out
as a-
literacy.
Yes, yeah, so I don't know if
yeah,
art
they
and
do.
music have
Meetings,
regular
no.
meetings
So I would say it
or,
would be band booster,
yeah.
yeah.
I think band is the only one that actually has a group that meets in a formal
Find out
way.
more.
So you guys are on the band and music,
Okay,
right?
all right.
Okay.
All righty, we got that. Anything else there? Okay, so can I have a motion to approve all of these liaison positions?
All motion.
Okay, Ms. Pesha, and can I have a
Is that your
second?
first motion?
Mr. Grotowski? I didn't hear that. And any discussion? I guess we've already had a lengthy discussion. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, carried 7-0. Okay, then we have some authorizations for petty cash and
Can we move on the remainder of the board?
credit cards, and so it's the, fees and those kinds of things. Can I have a motion to approve all of those?
I'll move on the rest of the agenda.
Okay, so this is for 12. Mrs. Bussey, and can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Grotowski, any discussion?
Yeah, I just, this is Maybe, again, I believe we probably have building, transportation in our group for presentations at some point.
Yes.
I was just curious, so I'll bring it up then. There's nothing bad. I just got questions about travel and all that fun stuff, so nothing bad, just curious.
Yeah, I think all
So I'll
those
save it for
groups,
that.
all those groups are coming in the fall.
Sure. Yeah,
So,
thank you.
yes, so you can ask any.
I just
Okay,
w-
any other discussion?
Yeah, I just have a question on this. Do we use our buses? I know this year the recreation is all nil, but do we use our buses for the town? Do they use in the summertime?
Yes, we've allowed them to do that, yes.
And we do that gratis?
I'm sorry?
And we do it gratis for them?
Yes, I believe so. I mean, for gas and things like
Yeah.
that, we would
Haven't
charge.
we-
but-
I just have a question. What did what rate did the town give us for the ice rink? I
don't
heard it
know-
was doubled, and I just wondered
Yeah,
if that's
I couldn't
true.
say the exact number off the top of my head. It did increase.
So are we still going to do all of that gratis with the buses?
I think we approved it already.
We did.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
approved it for
Voted on it.
3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
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 I just thought that was kind of an interesting thing that, and the ice rink has doubled. So is our hockey going to still use the ice rink then?
That's our plans right now.
Yeah, double the fee that it's been. I don't think that's fair, but it's what it is, We like to be cooperative and we like to have a town spirit, but
Sure.
seems like when we're doing some things that are gratis for others, they could not double our fee.
Yeah, well, maybe they need to look at other rinks and see if there's other rinks that
They're cheaper.
are close enough that are,
Yeah.
cheaper, so.
I
it's-
know.
don't
I know. Mr. Schultz was upset over that. Brian. But I just wondered if there was any change.
Yeah. Not to my knowledge, no. I did
No?
talk to Mrs. Felcaro Doherty, our athletic director, and she had brought that to my attention that the rink fees had increased. So, but I don't believe at this point we've identified another place to have this. So
So we haven't not found another place yet. Then
I don't know
Of course, we
how
even
actively
know
we're looking, to be
they're-
quite honest with you, because I think there's a limitation. There's not a whole lot of other facilities
A
out
lot
there.
of ice time.
So
Yeah.
ice
A
time's
lot of
tough.
ice time.
Yeah.
So certainly something that I would imagine. I know Mrs. Felcaro Doherty's a pretty frugal person. She's pretty good about finding a deal. So I think
Right.
that's something that she could absolutely be exploring. But I think you also have to weigh out cost benefit too in terms of even
True.
just proximity and things
Yeah.
like that. So
Or should we include a charge for our bus service? You don't know. I know that's.
Do we really want to get into a
Yeah.
tit for tat argument over every
Well,
little
no,
penny?
it's not an argument,
Yeah.
but it's a money thing.
No, I'm
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
I mean, we approved the board.
Yeah, we already approved
7-0,
it. Yeah.
The buses. I don't want to start approving things based on what are you going to do for me. We could talk about that in the future. I just think
Right,
going
well-
that route, especially just over, there's obviously a reason they doubled the fees. They're not doing it to screw us, right? Do we know the
I
reason?
don't know. I don't know.
Okay,
I really don't
I
know.
believe the taxpayers are paying the bill for this building. It's owned by the town. The fees have probably to maintain it have gone up, so they have to do increased costs. So now we turn around and we want to screw people by charging them for buses that we already agreed on that we were going to give them. Over that, I just, this conversation doesn't need to be made now. It could have been made among the board privately. Just my opinion.
Well, it's a public issue, though.
Okay,
because it's
that's
the
fine.
kids in
You
the
can have it
sports.
in public all you
I
want.
just, no, I was just
Okay.
curious about that because
Right.
I think
we can discuss it. I just don't want to start throwing out tit for tat. That's all.
I appreciate that. But it's something that's public. And I know that
Understood.
Mr. Schultz was upset
Okay.
about that, and that's why I brought it up.
Did Brian email us? Did I miss something?
No, this was.
No,
this
he
was in
had
the
said
spring.
at a meeting that, it's, we have to look at
That's why I brought it up.
the relationship between the town and the board and
Sure.
for expenses.
Yeah, absolutely.
That just,
Well,
everything
because-
has to be fair.
because we
That's-
do.
That's the only reason,
100%.
right. That's the only reason.
I believe
He's,
you've been working with the supervisor.
Supervisor Dixon and I have actually had some meetings just before COVID, and we actually had planned to regroup again, and then everything kind of broke loose, and so that meeting never happened. So
Yeah, it was.
we have to work together,
Yeah.
is what the
Right.
thing is, yes.
And we do
Yes.
charge them, we charge different organizations to have their breakfasts or their fundraisers in our buildings.
But I think maybe
And
we
they're
need
all
to
listed.
discuss
That
that.
was this item,
Right.
Yeah.
that's all.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we charge all the community.
Yeah, we
people.
do.
Yeah.
All I have to-
I think there's some though, actually, to say, do like Boy Scout, like certain organizations we don't charge, PTAs.
Oh.
we don't charge
Yeah,
PTAs.
we don't charge
no.
PTAs,
No.
PTOs, thankful for that.
Well, they're part of the school.
And these fees here, I mean, you couldn't rent a private building anywhere near this, so I believe we are giving back as much as we can to the community organizations.
I would hope so.
Okay?
Yeah, we have good partnership, I
Okay,
think, with
right.
with our
And I
community.
think we should continue a partnership because
Always.
we
Yes.
share the SROs and all that. And that, to me, is very, very important.
Yes. Yeah.
So I don't want to get into, like you said,
Yes.
you know, back and forth. I agree. Ed.
Okay, any other
Mark it down,
discussion?
Ed, I agree with you.
It's probably
Mark
not
that
the right
down.
place for it, but I want to bring it to the attention. Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, are we still allowing them into the buildings next year?
We haven't had anybody into the buildings, right? Are you talking about for next year?
For next school year.
We haven't made any decisions yet, honestly.
Okay.
That's something the board's really going to need to discuss. Larry, Diana talked about that a while back. At this point, it'd be premature to really have that conversation, but that's definitely something on my mind. There's a lot of questions we're going to have to answer for next year, but one of the things that has been discussed is just, we've allowed permits to be filed. So
Correct.
basically people as they normally would, but we've told people that, based on changing circumstances, that there may be, our ability to be able to allow people to use our space may be limited. Just so that, if somebody's saying, hey, if I need to start making some other plans as a contingency, they'll do that, so.
So they can file permits, but
Oh,
there's
yeah.
no guarantee as of right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, well, we don't know what the
We're moving
governor's
forward
gonna
as
come
if
down.
Right.
it won't be a problem, but just in the event that something changes, that we
Right.
want to just be fair with people and upfront with them, just to say, hey, something may change, we'll let you know if it does. So.
So there's no solid, no one's using the building at this point. It's
People
more
are
of a-
filing the permits for it, and right now, no one's, at this moment especially, nobody's using our buildings or facilities for anything
Yeah, no,
like
that's
that.
understandable.
Yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, did we get a motion on that?
Yes, we did.
Okay, all right. All in
Melissa's paying
favor?
attention.
I know. Opposed? Okay, carried 7-0. Anything else? That's the end of our,
Happy
All of our-
Independence Day.
oh, yes, yeah. Be safe for the 4th of July, and, practice social distancing as much as possible. We don't want any spikes. It's the last thing we want now that we're getting back to sort of a normal routine. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make the motion.
Mr. Kwiatkowski, can I have a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Siebert, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, have a great evening and enjoy the weather.